The gentleman I'm about to introduce you to, his name is Wali Rushdan II, but he is a pillar of our society. He truly is. He gives back to the community. He's studied in France, South Africa. He's an attorney at law at Fox Rothschild. He's also a father. Congratulations. And like I said, he's really giving back to the community. He serves on the board of the Achievers Program and the Delaware State Board of Education, and he joins us now. Welcome to the show, Wali.
I'm so glad to be here with you, my friend.
Yes, I was going to say we're also William Penn High School alumni.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
Had to wear my red today. But welcome. It's truly an honor to have you on In Focus. Thank you for coming out.
It's so wonderful to be here and to have seen the program so many times, to now be a part of it. It's pretty cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I've been how can I say it? I don't really say a fan, but a huge supporter of your progress. And I've learned today that I didn't even know this about you, that you've started your education at Delaware after high school at Delaware Tech Community College, and then from there you moved on to University of Delaware and then Rutgers University. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I know a lot of people have the misconception after graduating high school, Delaware Tech Community College might not be or fulfill the needs of where they want to go in their career, but you're a prime example of how that was your starting point, and it's actually contributed to your success and where you're at today.
Absolutely.
So can you share a little bit about your experience with that?
I'd love to. And community colleges are, I think, an essential component of our education system, our post-secondary education system. And our post-secondary education system is robust. You have all types of universities across the country that can meet students where they are in their particular life. And I think it's important that after you graduate from high school, you have some type of plan. Either you're going to enter the workforce, or you're going to further your skills so that you can be a worker in some type of advanced skill field. So for me, at my place where I was and graduated from high school, honestly, I was not ready for a 4-year school.
Okay.
There were certain points in my personal development that I needed to go through, and I needed a university or academic setting that was going to accommodate me where I was at that time. Also financially, there was some real considerations there in terms of being able to afford a traditional 4-year school. So for me, Del Tech was the perfect way for me to continue my momentum with my education and get that support that I needed at that time in my life. And the things that I learned about myself through the excellent educators that were there at the time, I'm going to name two by name, Regan Hicks Goldstein,
Okay.
who is a wonderful educator who since moved on, and a second educator who was there at the time, a Stephen Lavelle, who was there, who did phenomenal things for me. And those people helped me build the confidence so that I could go out and be ready for that next phase of my education, where I transitioned to the University of Delaware and then went on to law school.
Which your credits can be transferable to the University of Delaware. I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware of that, but in regards to pursuing whatever degree you're pursuing in UD, you can transfer
Absolutely.
those credits as well.
There's
Into
now
your bachelor's degree.
the SEED program, which it's called now. At the time I participated in it, it was called the Parallel program.
Okay.
And the Parallel program was that program which allowed you to get transferable credits at Del Tech that you could transfer to University of Delaware, and I did that. So when I transferred in as a junior.
Okay.
And I got a degree in criminal justice from Del Tech, and then I transferred to University of Delaware and changed my major to political science.
Okay. And now you're an attorney. So my question is, how did you stay the course? I mean, anything we do in life, career-based, even relationships, right? It takes time, it takes patience, it takes commitment, dedication to see that through, to make sure you get the ultimate end goal. And you are at your end goal. So how did you study the course?
Well, I think you raise a really important point, which is that I think everyone needs sort of that North Star. You need that thing in life that's going to direct your path. And we know in life a lot of different opportunities can come your way, distractions can come your way, but I think in order for you to really make the most out of the time you have to have that thing that you say, this is a big lofty goal. And for me, becoming an attorney was a lofty goal for me that I had developed at a pretty early age.
Yes.
My parents had cultivated it in me. It became sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. At a young age, they told me that I had certain skill sets that they thought would lend themselves to a career in the law. And as I started to explore it more for myself, I said, oh, I think I identify with that. It was an opportunity to communicate, to advocate for people, to be able to help people who were in need. I always had a sense of being willing to protect people. My name, Wali, actually means the protector and the friend. So lawyers sort of have that role in terms of protecting the interests of their clients. And I also saw when I would explain this to people as a young person, they would say, oh, you know, they would respond positively. Yeah, a lawyer's a good thing. That's someone that will help the community. So it had a certain prestige that I think attracted me as well. So all through my life, I always kept that in my mind, that the decisions I made needed to be consistent with that path. And if there were things that were coming in my way that were going to be inconsistent with that path, I generally trended away from those things. So I sort of had the goal in my mind the whole time, but the thing that really solidified it for me was after undergraduate school, I spent some time working for Senator Tom Carper, which was a wonderful experience.
As a federal caseworker.
Yeah, I was a federal caseworker, and I helped people with their Social Security and Medicare issues. And it was very enlightening and inspiring to be able to help people who were in their sort of, you know, lowest places to be able to navigate some of the things that they were entitled to as being, you know, U.S. citizens. And for me, I saw that I could have a greater ability to advocate if I was able to develop the skills that lawyers have. So for me, that was a big part of why I decided to actually move forward with that thing that had always been with me.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest attributes and characteristics I believe that you possess is that you're very selfless. So you've gone through all these experiences, you've accomplished so much success at such a young age, as you've mentioned, but you've also taken the initiative to give back to the community. And with that, you've been co-chair and board member of the Achievers program. And that is a program that I really want to talk about because you're giving back to the youth here. And what better way than you yourself to show these young gentlemen what it takes, as you just stated, to study the course and have an end goal and make sure, like you said, you know where you're going. So let's talk a little bit about the Achievers program. What is that? What does that look like? What does that entail?
That's my love. I was going to say my first love, but I don't want to get in trouble with my wife.
Right.
Outside of my wife and my son, I absolutely love this program, and it was a gift to me. You just said some very nice things about the things that I'm contributing to the program, but the program was really an opportunity for me to manifest some of my best assets and my best skills. The genesis of this actually goes back to my days at William Penn, where I got introduced to mentoring as an opportunity. There was a after-school program that was being launched there. And when I was in college, I was invited to come participate in that after-school program. And I knew nothing about mentoring at that time. And that exposed me to this world where even as a young person, in my early 20s, I learned that I had something of value that I could offer to someone who was in their teenage years. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to wait to be whatever I am today, some lawyer, you know, working at a big law firm. I had experiences that I could offer and provide value. So from then on, I was hooked on mentoring. With the Achievers program, this program had been in existence since 1987. So it had a long history that predated my involvement. And I saw this program as an opportunity for me to take some of the experiences that the program historically had and modernize it with some of the experience that I have as sort of in my generation. And the program is a 6-month self-development workshop for African American and Latino males who are in the greater Newcastle County area. We attract students from Pennsylvania. We also attract some from Maryland, but mostly it's Newcastle County centered. And it's a 6-month development workshop, as I mentioned, we call it a crash course in manhood. That prepares these young men for the things that they're going to encounter as they transition away from the safety of their home and a nurturing sort of high school environment into that sort of more open college environment where your choices really will define who you are. There's less of a buffer between making bad choices and getting out of them.
Right.
So we put them through this workshop series that talks about everything from goal setting to essay writing to proper oratory to etiquette. You know, when you go to your first fancy dinner and you see all the cutlery, how do you know how to navigate that? We demystify those things. And we also have a career planning workshop where we talk about introducing some of these young men to mentors in their areas of interest. And at the end of this program, the culminating event is an event called the Affair of Honor.
Okay.
And it's like a debutante ball,
okay.
But for men, for young men. Okay. So they get dressed up. For a lot of these young men, it's the first time they put on a tuxedo, and it's for the full coattails, it's the full out tux. And they have attendants who have white gowns and dresses. And we formally present these young men as achievers to the broader community. And this event, it's several hundred people at this event every year. We love being able to demonstrate a different image of our young men. And we draw on every year a great amount of young men from the city of Wilmington who participate in the program. And to be able to demonstrate that image of what young men in our community are doing, I think is extremely important. And we've enjoyed great, again, support from our local elected officials, from business community leaders, because the other thing about this program is we give out scholarships.
Yes, I was going to say, I read up over $400,000 have been contributed to scholarships over the course of its existence. That is amazing.
Well, I want to amaze you even more because we've actually, that statistic, we've doubled it. That number was on a form that I gave you that was a little dated, so I apologize. But we've in our now we're in our 31st year. Last year was our 30th year anniversary.
Okay.
We're now at over $800,000 in scholarships that we've provided to young men, and that's a function of that support I was just talking about. I mean, local businesses, community leaders, elected officials, they've seen the impact of this program. Some of them have actually came through this program. I don't want to name too many names, but people like Darius Brown, for instance, is an Achievers graduate of our program. And Donald Brown, who works with FAME, is an Achievers graduate. So we have people who are, Logan Herring from the Kingswood Community Center. These are all men who are now in positions of leading young men who have been through this Achievers program.
Like local unsung heroes.
Exactly, who are doing the work. And that's the thing about this program is, we don't do it for accolades. We do it because we know it's important and it's had an impact.
And $800,000, that's a significant impact, because for some of these kids, like you said, like you mentioned, going to Delaware Tech Community College, your finances might not be there to go to college, and now here you are with a scholarship that is going to give you that opportunity to go ahead and pursue your career path. It's
huge, and every little bit counts. I mean, we generally have between 25 to 30 young men in our program every year, and these scholarships that they receive are typically several $1,000s a piece. So it helps towards the overall process of them paying for college, and it's a huge thing. Not only are we trying to get our kids in college, but we have to keep them there.
Right.
And that's a big issue that I think continues to be in the public discourse. But everybody in the community can play a role in that. And when we have young people who have the desire and the passion to pursue their interests, money shouldn't be an issue to them being able to better themselves, because the community is going to benefit. When they become better, then they're going to be able to come back and serve the community, because they're going to be well educated and prepared to meet the challenges. So I think it's a no-brainer to invest in these young people to make them prepared.
The program's so amazing because as you're explaining it to us, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, not a lot of men are actually looked at in that nurturer role, right? Usually women are the nurturers, but here you have men showing younger men what it looks like to be excellent, to succeed, to have a goal in mind, and this is what it looks like when you actually get to that goal.
Absolutely.
These are the steps to take. You know what? No, you can go to college, and this is what it takes, these workshops. This is what you need to learn, and then we're going to get you there. We're going to provide you with the scholarship. And then my favorite part that my colleague Saquon Simpson has actually shared so much information
to me. The great Saquon Simpson.
Yes, Yes, and he's actually shared with me too that he's been part of the mentoring program. But he had some significant photos and videos that he shared with us in regards to your National College Signing program. So can you share with us the ceremony? Because to me, I don't know why, I look at it, it's like, man, it reminds me of like draft, like when someone's trying to get into the NFL and then they get selected and they get chosen and they're up there with their family and they're up there with their new swag from their football team. But here it's no, you're getting accepted to a college, to a university, you get to pick which university. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, so I love this program. And I do have to give a shout out to my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, Inc. The program, the Achievers Program, is part of the Guide Right initiatives. I'm the Guide Right director for our local Wilmington alumni chapter.
Okay.
And I was so glad when we decided to launch this program here in Wilmington, because Wilmington has a tremendous amount of great athletes, right?
Yes.
We have wonderful athletes, and athletes are used to having these college signing days where they have a presser and announce this is the university I'm going to. But we have young men who are just there you go. And we have so many young men though who are academic scholars, who are first generation students or going on full rides, and those stories need to be told too. Those need to be celebrated. Going to school on your academic merit alone is something that's worth celebrating.
Yes.
So this was an opportunity to celebrate those young men for making that step and really giving it the proper platform that it needs. So we do issue a press release. We do invite all press to come out and be there and create an excitement in the room. We invite local elected officials. The mayor has been very supportive of this initiative over the years, to come and recognize these young people, to make them understand that this is a significant thing that you're doing, and we acknowledge you for going on that journey, and we're going to back you up when you need that support. So we have a full day, full program in which we do that and try and make it as exciting as possible. And
how important is it for these young men, African American men, Latino men, to be mentored by someone who looks like them? Like I remember when I got accepted to Morgan State University, it was a no-doubter I was going to go there, and people were like, "Why? You can go to UD, you can go to Del State, have a full ride." And I said, "You know what? I really want to attend a university with people who look like me and who are actually of excellence too." And then on top of that, you have the opportunity to network and succeed with all, like you said, people of your fraternity, sorority, or others who are alumni from your university. But the most important part for me was to see people of the same color or ethnicity who are actually excelling within your community. So how important do you feel that plays a role to these young African American and Latino men?
You cannot deny how important it is to be able to look at success and see that success looks like you, right? So that you can then believe that the success you see is one that you can achieve. It's not up for debate. It's a real thing. And our young people will measure what opportunities are available for them based on the models that are out there who have accomplished those things. So our young people may say certain career pathways are off limits to them because they've never seen someone who looks like them or who reminds them of people in their community that are doing that. So they self-select themselves out of being a number of things just because they haven't had the introduction and the opportunity to see that particular career or that particular behavior modeled in someone that they can relate to. So it's hugely important. It's hugely important that we, particularly professional men, come back from all persuasions and make themselves available to our young people so that they can then begin to imagine what opportunities may be available for them. I call it demystifying the process.
Okay.
Because one thing I'm okay with, this is the thing that I'm okay with, and I'll tell you what I'm not okay with. I'm okay with making a decision, whether it be a good one or bad one, if you have all the information at your disposal. So many of our young men make bad decisions because they don't have the information at their disposal. If I can put the information in front of you and say, this is available to you, this is not your only option over here. You're not resigned to these couple of things. This is a whole universe of opportunity that you can go after, and and then hold your hand and help you walk you through it, not just drop you off at the door and say figure it out.
Right.
Some of us have to do that.
That's right.
But when you do that, it's your job to go back and not have someone else have to figure it out on their own. So I try and open those doors and demystify. If you make a choice, a bad choice, after you've had access to that information, I can live with that. I cannot live with young men out there making bad choices every day because no one has availed themselves to say, here's the other way, here's another way. And that's what drives me, is that you need to have a chance. You need to have an opportunity to see what the alternatives look like. And then from there, if you make a choice, that's on you. But I think that's where we need to be. We have so many young men who don't even know.
Right.
They don't even know what's out there or what they can do or that college is available for them or anything like that.
Right. And I like you, I believe information changes situations. So once
I like
you're
that one. I'm
informed-
going to borrow that. Okay.
I
All
always
right.
say that, like, information changes situations.
I like that.
Because once you know, you can't say you don't know. And
That's
then
right.
once you're aware, you can't, like, say I've made these choices and steps not knowing what
That's
I
right.
did. Because
That's
now
right.
you know. And in regards to exposure, you're also a part of the Ebony Tie Affair Youth Symposium.
Yeah.
And so again, giving back to the youth. But this is also another program that you're involved with that I find a lot of interest with because of the day-long celebration of the men, the people who've served as panelists. I mean, there's so many to list. But when I was looking, I couldn't believe how many people come back and actually give back to these kids.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about this.
So this was a culmination, I think, of a lot of different things happening at the right time. The Ebony Tie Affair is an annual event amongst some of the diverse men across the state, and to celebrate for no other reason than just to celebrate each other and our accomplishments. And in this room, it's a tremendous amount of success. And what the men determined was that although we enjoy each other's company as men, we cannot have this much knowledge and this much information here and not be thinking about our young people and how to dispense that to them. So instead of having the young men, which we did for a couple years, come there, we found it'd probably be better to have a separate event for the young men for a number of different reasons.
Okay.
And that was the genesis of the Ebony Tie Youth Luncheon. It started off as a luncheon, and the first year that this happened, Cleon Cawley was the chair of the Ebony Tie Affair, and he and I had talked about having something for youth. We didn't know what it would look like.
Okay.
But for me, it was very important. I love that.
I
word.
like that picture.
It was very important that we do something that engaged all three counties, because so much of my work had been Newcastle County centric. I wanted to do something that engaged the young people in Kent County and engaged the young men in Sussex County as well.
Okay.
And Cleon was all for it. So what we decided to do was we were going to have a day in which we introduced some of these young men to successful men from all different fields in a luncheon format for a one-day experience, for that luncheon experience. And I got to be like a kid in a candy store, because at that point in time in my career, in my life, I had been interacting with a lot of these individuals who I looked up to and respected, who were already plugged into this Ebony Tie event. So I got a chance to ask CEO of his own company, Mr. Bill Allen, Bill, will you sit on this panel? Executive at the time at Bank of America, Tony Allen, Tony, will you be on the panel? Got a chance to ask Joe Bryant, who is the head of the Delaware River and Bay Authority from law enforcement, Doc B, who is a radio personality, Darius Brown, who was a city councilman at the time.
Yes.
All these different men who I knew in these different sectors to be able to bring together, to be able to present a sort of a whole perspective, different perspectives
Right.
on success for these young men. I remember one young man, said, I never met a black millionaire before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you did today, and those are those type of comments are exactly why we wanted to do this event. So we were able to get buy-in from the different schools. We sent out notices to different schools, and they nominated kids to participate, and we had certain districts volunteer buses to help us be able to get kids, have location pickup points in Kent County and Sussex County so that transportation wasn't an issue.
Okay.
And then the huge step was getting DSU involved, because DSU was a sort of a center point in the state for a location. And they all converged on this location for our first event in 2012. And we've continued to do it annually and it's grown and grown and grown, and now it's a full day event because we realized there was so much that we couldn't capture in a couple of hours. Now we have breakout sessions over a full day. And so now it's a symposium, and we can have specific conversations that are very focused as opposed to a general knowledge of success and success principles. Now we can focus on specific things in one session, another specific topic, and another specific topic. And we also now incorporated a skill. So not only will you get good information, every year we have a skill session. So you walk away with a skill. Past couple years, networking was really important. So we showed them how to effectively network. We talked about social media and the effective use of social media last year. So we continue to evolve, and this year's event, which we're getting geared up for, the date, I wrote it here so I wouldn't get it wrong, is Ebony Taveras, Saturday, November the 17th.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, so it's approximately a month away. And anyone who's looking for information on this, if I could.
Yes, sure.
You want to email ebonytie@gmail.com. That's Ebony, EBONY, tie, TIE, youth, YOUTH, @gmail.com.
Wonderful. And like you're saying, and what I'm hearing, it's not only motivational and inspirational, but it's very, very educational.
Absolutely.
And you're hearing it from those who are sitting in those seats and are excelling within their profession.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And before we go, I do want to mention too that you are also on the board of the Delaware State Board of Education. Tell us a little bit about that transition. Congratulations, by the way, huge honor.
Thank you.
But you've done so much with the youth. You're also serving with the advisory board of the Alumni Association for William Penn. So how have all these experiences helped you to where you're at now with the State Board of Education?
Well, things continue to build on each other, right? And all of those, I love how you sort of position this, because I don't think the role that I have on the state board would have been possible without this work. A lot of the work that I did with the youth over the years involved me being in the schools and meeting guidance counselors, meeting parents, meeting young people. And academic achievement is very, very near and dear to my heart. It's at the foundation of where I am in my career. And a lot of barriers to academic achievement are based on things that have nothing to do with what's going on in the classroom. So I came at education not from an educator's perspective, but from someone who values academic success, but knows that there are different things that go into the calculus for what means academic success.
Right.
So I, to be honest with you, I had no idea that I was being considered for the opportunity on the state board.
That's usually how it happens.
Yeah, it was a random call that I received, and quite frankly, I had to think twice about it because I was already pretty engaged with a number of things that I'm doing, both professionally, civically, personally. But the opportunity to serve on the state board was one that I could not pass up. It's an opportunity to really have access to a process that affects children in the most fundamental way, that affects people who live in our state in the most fundamental way, and was central, and education was central to why I wound up in Delaware in the first place. I actually am not from Delaware originally, revealing fact. But the reason I came here is because my home state had an abysmal education system in the in particular school district I was in, and my family had to make a difficult decision to move me and my brother here to Delaware. The whole family couldn't come because we couldn't afford it. But that sacrifice was made so that my brother and I could have access to a better education. And I don't want to get too sentimental about this, but for me, no family should have to separate in order to get a quality education. You should be able to get a quality education in your backyard. You should not have to move to a different state or across the state. Everywhere you go, if you live somewhere, you should be able to access that. So for me, being a part of that conversation, unpacking it and figuring out what role I can have in improving that and securing that for all of Delaware students, it was a no-brainer.
Wow, very powerful. Any departing words you can give to that young individual, male or female, who has looked at you today, have heard all about your success, what it took to get there, what it continues to take to get there? What departing words can you share with that individual that might be doubting, or an adult? We have a lot of adults too who doubt ourselves day in and day out. What could you share with us that would help them move on and continue to move on before we leave?
So much, but I'll keep it simple. The bottom line is that there is nothing inherently special about me. okay? People look to titles and roles and think that that person may have had a certain life experience. I promise you, if a person sat down with me, they might be shocked about the life experiences that I've had and the things that I've been through in my life. And the important thing people need to know is that you cannot fast track success. Success is very simple, and it's based on discipline. And people think that they're avoiding the pain of discipline, because discipline comes with pain. Discipline means doing things sometimes that you don't feel like doing, that you don't want to do.
That's right.
But the secret is that you never avoid the pain, because there's a second type of pain. There's a pain of regret. So you have the pain of discipline and you have the pain of regret. The important thing to know is that the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. So you might as well do that discipline pain, right? Do the work, do the things that you don't feel like doing. That's the separator. It's not about being smarter. It's not about coming from a certain family or a certain zip code. If you work as hard as you possibly can, if you give your best, you will achieve. And that is the secret to everything that I've done, is that I refuse to be outworked. I refuse to give up. And if you show up long enough and you keep trying, you'll get where you're trying to go.
And that's why you're a pillar of our society. Thank you so much, Wali. Very powerful words there. And it's been an honor to have you on this show.
It's good to see you
Thank
too.
you
I'm
for
so
coming
proud
on.
of you.
Oh, thank you so much. We're going to continue on and helping those too, like you've been doing the youth in our community. I think that's very powerful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And on behalf of all of us here at WITN 22, I'm your host, Yesenia Taveras. Thank you so much for watching.